All right, I'm gonna show you how I turned this room into this. So I've been working on this studio for over 5 months now, and I want to take you through all the things that it took to get to this stage now. I wanted a place that can be used for creating YouTube content, color grading, podcasting, music production, and even gaming. It was also important as a filmmaker to be able to create a space that is modular, where I can kind of move things around, and then no matter which angle the camera's pointing at, I can film multiple different types of environment all within one space. Now before we dive in, I will be creating a full series of YouTube videos that will break down different sections of this room in more detail, because there's a lot of content that I know is going to be too long to share in just one video. So definitely subscribe and click that notification bell if you want to be notified when those videos drop. So where to start? The first thing you might notice compared to before is the painting, the flooring, and the wall texture. We had to take down some wall shelving and add some drywall, as this room was never really finished when we purchased it. I also knew I needed power in this area over here, and so I ran power from the other side of the wall outlet and just added an outlet here. When planning everything out, the big focus was having power available in the ceiling so that I could mount a lot of things from the ceiling instead of relying on stands. So I ran power from the light switch to the center of the room. I then knew I wanted to mount heavy equipment from the ceiling and needed better support. So I cut out a section of drywall and just added some better support to hold all of my equipment and C-stands. We actually installed something called a quiet wall, which is like carpet for walls. So if you look at it closely, this is what you can find at movie theaters on the wall. It's kind of the same kind of material. I picked this up from Home Depot, and it cost me roughly about $500 with 3 full panels of this stuff. We decided to use it for the ceiling as well, even though it's not advertised for that use, and used the same wall glue and added staples to help secure and keep it in place. You can't see the staples unless you shine light on it, and for the most part, we really wanted an easy way to deaden the sound in this room so it wouldn't reflect when playing music or recording audio. Full cost of carpet wall and glue was roughly $530. For paint, we went with this limousine leather color from Home Depot that also had this bare scuff defense coating that keeps it from showing scratches or handprints. We ended up using the same paint on the wall slats as well. The total cost of paint was roughly $100 for 3 gallons. Now for the floor carpet, it was kind of difficult to actually install myself because I still had my desk in here. I was still trying to do work, so I couldn't get it out of the room. Also, we ended up scraping the wall dramatically during install and had to repaint the lower sections of the walls. Noted, install carpet first if you can, or just know you might need to touch up paint later. I wanted this color and style because I could still use my office chair and easily move furniture around smoothly. Cost for this was only $90, as I found it at Home Depot as a scrap piece, and I saved like 30% on it. Now let's move on to the desk setup. This is a sit-stand desk from IKEA called Edison, and I researched tons of different sit-stand desks to make sure, first of all, which one is the right size for me, but also the durability. What's really cool about this desk is it goes really low to the ground, and it can extend extremely high. Also, if I want to shift side to side, it's pretty stable when you're considering it. The legs are extremely strong. I absolutely love it, and it's been working phenomenally. Now the top of the desk is not the original option, which I would prefer as it is a little bit thicker, but because of COVID, it has been difficult to pick up certain items from IKEA. However, this was in stock and matched the size, so I grabbed it and used it for now. I also wanted to have this thing move around in the room and be very modular, so I simply installed some furniture sliders, and this thing slides anywhere. Way better than having wheels, honestly. Cost of this desk was around $600 total. Now I'm briefly going to talk about this desk, as I will do a full breakdown of all the gear, the monitors I'm using, the audio, computer specs, all that. It's going to be in a future video and a future series that's going to go really in depth, all the cabling underneath and everything. So definitely check that out whenever it launches. In the meantime, I currently have a Sonos Beam system that I've cleverly connected to my audio device for output from this Focusrite device. This will be updated in the future with a nice stereo system, but for now, this is what I'm using. I have a shelf under here where my Mac Mini is sitting and connected to this eGPU that I will eventually update with a future Mac Mini running Silicon, as that will be the best option for me in my opinion. I'm OCD about cabling, which you will see in all my future breakdown videos, so here I have an Ethernet cable connected to a server room where we access our files from a QNAP, and then this power cable to run all power to the desk. Then I can move this desk anywhere in this room however I want. I also have monitor mounts that allow me to move my monitors out of the way and film straight on for YouTube videos without needing to change my setup. Again, an overall focus in this room is to have space to create quickly and efficiently without having to spend a lot of time setting up for shoots and stuff. Now, before we dive into this slated wall, which is one of a kind and honestly the most difficult build I've ever done, let's go over all the lighting in this room and the sound paneling. I'm using acoustic sound panel squares that I got off Amazon, which I will link in the description below. I really wanted an artistic looking wall that had character to it, so I spent a little more on this particular design that doubled as sound panels as well as an art backdrop, and I absolutely love the look. Now, it wasn't cheap as it was double the cost of the black panels, and I even used more of those. However, I love the look of it, and it helps make the space pop with character. For the black panels, I decided to stagger them so that when light hit it, it created more leading lines and shadows that helped produce a nice shape in the background of my videos. Total cost for sound panels is roughly $650. For lighting, I really wanted most of this room to be automated with voice control, like this. Alexa, studio demo. Alexa, turn on studio light plug. I can create different scenes for different work environments, and I really love that efficiency. When editing, I have a different scene for that. When I'm recording, I have a scene for that which also triggers the light outside my door to turn red so people know not to knock or disturb me until after I'm finished recording. Here, for my main light, I'm currently using a newer LED light that is bicolor, which is great. Because it is mounted to the ceiling, I can easily adjust it with the C-stand arm for different scenes and control the intensity with a separate controller if needed. I have attached it to a smart plug for now to turn it on and off based off the scene I'm going for. I can also attach flags or other things like mics to the ceiling as well to make things as clean and simple to use as possible. Over here I have a vintage replica of like a Hollywood tripod spotlight that I changed out the bulb to be a smart bulb so that I can control that. Also, since we do music down here, I got my Juno 106 and mic set up and everything. I added lighting up here kind of as I wanted to kind of spotlight some stuff. I have a focus chart that I got off Etsy, which I really love. And then over here, my pride and joy is my Lego builds. This is an actual grand piano, which is pretty amazing. It's got hammer action and everything. You can even roll up the little bitty seat right there. Pedal works. It's just magnificent. Over here, Stranger Things set, which you can see Will and the Demogorgon on the bottom, which is hilarious because what's really great is you can also do this. Bam. The upside down. What's also great is you can turn it around and get introduced to the other side of the world, which is really cool. Overall, I've really been loving doing Lego lately. It's been a fun hobby of mine, and you know, got to showcase it really nicely with this lighting. Also, I added these Nan light holders, so you can kind of pull these off. Just got these they're like mag light holders for flashlights, and they work perfectly for this, which is nice. So I can kind of just push them onto the wall and position them there. I also added a magnet right here, so I can just attach this if I want to. Added a magnet, and I can attach it to anything that's metal, which is great whenever I'm laying out this whole space. All right, so total lighting costs for this room, which includes the tripod spotlight. We have another IKEA light over here. We've got these spots up here, and we've got LED strips all around the room, and then the main light, that is the bicolor newer light. All that's roughly $600. For furniture, most everything in this room is from IKEA. I love the aesthetic, and also the price point really helped to make everything happen. We have guests sometimes come stay over with us or family, so I picked up the sectional sofa that unfolds into a bed, and it is awesome. Doesn't clutter the room with a big bed or sofa, and still allows for a guest to rest or an artist when they want to lay down some tracks overnight. Or if you are coming over for an ultimate Lego build weekend like our friend Jake here. For this shelf, I picked it up from IKEA to store my most used equipment that I currently have right now. I installed custom LED strips to light everything really well, and also built this really awesome lens holder that I will break down in another future video that is part of this series. So make sure you have subscribed so you don't miss the video whenever it goes live. I have our gear, small equipment and adapters, color charts, storage containers for cables and stuff, and I will be adding more stuff soon. Over here, we have the charging bay, which is our charging bay 2.0. If you've watched our YouTube video before, I did a full breakdown on how I built this, so you can check this link that I'm gonna have up here and watch that, and you'll probably wanna build your own. But this is really efficient. I decided to stack these instead of having them side by side, which takes up this space really nicely. I also have all my power and stuff tucked behind here that connects to the ceiling power, which keeps the cables clean and hidden. I also added another LED light strip up here and some greenery, and then just kind of laid everything out nicely. I will be showcasing all the updates I have made to this and some things that I've learned over the past couple years with this in a future video. My number one goal, again, I hate clutter and really love a clean aesthetic as much as possible. Over here we have a white table, circle table, that I can change the different heights if I want to do product placement and do different shots there. Then I have this C-stand that I've added wheels to that you can see at the bottom right here. So I can literally move this all around the room wherever I want. A little shelf if I want to place some stuff on it. Just keeps things much easier to kind of maneuver and keep everything modular in this room. And lastly, I have these backdrops right over here. So if I want to have a different look for different YouTube videos or whatever it is, I have different colors that I can just control depending on what environment and what backdrop I want. Again, what I love about this room is I can create multiple different environments, different backdrops. I can use the black sound panels as a backdrop, or I can have these two different colors, and I can easily change these out for other colors that I have stored elsewhere in this house. And then up here you can see I have this conduit piping that I just placed up here that I've attached to different beams, so I can attach, again, anything magnetic like the nan lights, or I can mount a microphone or a boom stand or anything to that as well. I also added fake plants throughout the space to help create an overall creative and relaxing environment that I have been wanting in my own space. Cost of all the furniture is roughly $1,400. Now, before I show you my favorite part of this room, which is the slated wall, I want to go ahead and quickly talk about our sponsor of this video, Inly. We have been using Inly for years to handle our invoicing and contracts, and they are hands down the most beautifully designed CRM and software for this. When a client reaches out, I easily send over a custom invoice and contract using our template flows, and they get a link to sign and pay even on their phone. You can get a free month to use Inly when you click on the link in the description and use our code and start using Inly now. Now, onto this slated wall. This is definitely one of a kind, and I'm truly stoked with how it turned out. This is made up of about 65 1x2 pieces of wood that I cut, sanded, and painted. I had seen a lot of slated wall designs online and had saved a few inspirations that implemented lighting, and I wanted a really unique layout that took it to the next level. I had the idea to install addressable LED lights into the slates to create the look I wanted. In order to do that, I had to take about 11 slats and rotor out channels for the LED strips to embed into the wood so that it would sit flush. Then I had to solder every LED strip and run all the cables behind the slats down to the bottom and connect them to the next LED slat. I ended up using 12-volt addressable LED lights so that I didn't have to add tons of power injections that most 5-volt options would require. I ran all the cabling to a box that I installed over here behind the backdrops, where I can always access the Wi-Fi controller and update it down the road if I want to. Then I have power cables running all the way from behind the charging bay in order to keep a very clean professional look while keeping all the power in one location. Eventually, I will use a custom Raspberry Pi that I can program to do custom looks. And right now I went with this controller so that I can program them to create some really unique looks like these. Here, I'm using an app called Fairy Nest. Because it's addressable, I can program each individual LED if I wanted to. For now, this is what I have. Total cost for this slated wall, including all the lighting, only about $500. However, it took so much time to build this, so much time. So just know that it is affordable, but also it takes a lot of energy and time and troubleshooting. And again, I'm gonna show a very detailed, in-depth video, all the issues I ran into it, how I fixed it, some cool tips and tricks for you if you wanna create a smaller version or a larger version of this as well. So this is my entire studio makeover. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I have a very, very in-depth video highlighting all the different steps about this process. So make sure that you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever it goes live. I'll be sharing some unique tips and hacks that I learned along the way, as well as a few things that I learned the hard way, like when I accidentally drilled a hole through my table. Just drilled a hole through my table. We won't go there right now. Or whenever I found my cat crawling up the wall because it's like a carpet and its claws just scaled the wall. So definitely not pet friendly for these walls in this space. Also, if you know anyone that likes before and after videos like I do, go ahead and share this video with them and give it a like. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for staying till the end, and I will see you in the next part of this video series of home studio makeover for videographers. For lighting, I really wanted most of this room to be automated with voice control, like this. Alexa, editing vibes.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Alexa, editing vibes.
I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, hold on.